In this video, we will discuss about some important carbon compounds, that is ethanol and ethanoic acid. Both ethanol and ethanoic acids are commercially important compounds. Now, we will try to learn the properties of these compounds. First, we'll just get started to learn the properties of ethanol. Ethanol is a liquid at room temperature. First of all, let me just clear this to you. Ethanol is nothing but alcohol. We all know what alcohol is. So alcohol is usually present as a liquid at room temperature. So you can see this is ethanol, which is present as a liquid in this container, which is covered with a cork. So this is liquid. So ethanol is a good solvent, hence it is also used in medicines as tincture iodine, cough syrups and many other tonics. So ethanol is a very good solvent. So you can see the active ingredient list here. So whenever you go to a shop or a market, whenever you buy something, so if it's an eatable, then even if it's not an eatable, so you will get a list of ingredients that are used in the preparation of that particular product. So this is the active ingredient list of tincture iodine. And if you can see this, here alcohol is 85%. So it is an antiseptic. So 85% of the alcohol is used. So it is the main ingredient in tincture iodine. Ethanol is soluble in water in all proportions. We all know this because whenever we mix water and alcohol, so we can actually never differentiate what is water and what is alcohol. So they both merge with each other so well so that we can't differentiate what actually is what. So if you can see here, these are the ice cubes and we pour alcohol into it, that is ethanol. So after some time the ice cubes melt and both of them are so compatible with each other and we can never actually differentiate water and alcohol. Now let's just try dropping a small piece of sodium into ethanol, that is absolute ethanol. So what is absolute ethanol? Absolute ethanol is nothing but 99% of ethanol and just 1% of water, which is a concentrated one. Now, when alcohol reacts with sodium, it leads to the formation of hydrogen gas and the other product is sodium ethoxide. So when both these substances, that is the sodium and alcohol react, they produce hydrogen bubbles or gas. So it, along with the hydrogen gas, you also see a product called sodium ethoxide. So in this image you can see this is a small piece of sodium which is dropped into ethanol. Then you can see there are pop-up bubbles, which is nothing but the production of hydrogen gas. So along with the hydrogen gas you also find another product called sodium ethoxide. Almost all metals produce hydrogen gas on reacting with alcohol. A simple test is there to check the presence of hydrogen is to light a splint and put in the smoke present. If you hear a pop sound, then hydrogen gas is present. So this is the reaction and now this is the test. So I told you there is a simple test. I told you the hydrogen gas is being evolved. How do you actually confirm that it is hydrogen gas? So it is very simple. If you put a splint near this test tube which is containing this particular ethanol and sodium, so the gas which will be coming out when the splint is taken there, then it will come up. There is a pop sound which can be heard. So then it is the confirmation of hydrogen. Then coming back to the reaction, so this is sodium plus ethanol. Sodium is usually written as Na and ethanol as C2H5OH, and this produces sodium ethoxide along with hydrogen, that is C2H5ONa, which is sodium ethoxide, and hydrogen is H2. So this particular reaction is balanced by giving particular numbers. Heating ethanol with 443 Kelvin with excess concentrated sulfuric acid results in the dehydration of ethanol to ethene, that is unsaturated hydrocarbon. So whenever you heat ethanol with excess of concentrated sulfuric acid at a particular temperature called 443 Kelvin, then ethanol will dehydrate to form ethene, which is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. That means it contains a double bond. So the reaction is as follows. So this is ethanol. So when it is subjected to concentrated H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid in excess amount at a particular temperature, that is 443 Kelvin, then you will get unsaturated hydrocarbon, that is ethene. So ethanol is converted to ethene. with the removal of a water molecule. So since water molecule is removed, it is dehydration. Here the concentrated sulfuric acid can be considered as highly dehydrating agent as it removes water from ethanol. So see, in the product you can see water molecule is removed. So sulfuric acid here can be considered as a dehydrating agent. Dehydrating, D means removing or which is absent. So removing water. So dehydrating agent, the one which removes water molecule. So here sulfuric acid is a dehydrating agent. So alcohol as a fuel. So do you know that alcohol is also used as fuel? So what are fuels generally? Fuels are generally like we use coal, petroleum, etc. as fuels. But alcohol is also used as a fuel. How? Usually the sugarcane plants have most efficient conversion of sunlight into chemical energy. So this sugarcane juice can be particularly used to prepare molasses. So molasses is used in the sugar industry. It is actually the waste product that is found in the sugar industry. So this molasses is actually fermented to produce, that is alcohol, that is which is also called as ethanol. So this particular alcohol that is produced from this molasses, in some countries it is used as an additive in petrol, since it is a cleaner fuel and on burning insufficient oxygen it gives rise to carbon dioxide and water. So this particular ethanol or alcohol that is extracted from this molasses, it is a cleaner fuel, that is on burning with sufficient oxygen it just gives rise to carbon dioxide and water, so no other pollutants. So it is very useful and it is environment friendly. How do alcohols affect living beings? We know alcohols have a drastic effect on the human body. So basically, dilute alcohols, which is taken even in small amount, cause drunkenness. Even though it's condemned, it's widely practiced. However, even a small quantity of pure alcohol is lethal. So basically, dilute alcohol. So whatever the alcohol is usually sold in the shops or in different stores, it is usually the diluted alcohol. So even a person who is consuming this diluted alcohol, if it is taken even in the small quantity, it causes a sense of drunkenness. So this practice is condemned all over, but then it's still widely practiced. However, a small quantity of pure alcohol is lethal. So if pure alcohol is taken, that is concentrated alcohol is taken, then it is completely poisonous and can also lead to the death of the person. So the next effect is when large quantities of alcohol is taken, it slows down the metabolic process and depresses the central nervous system. So for example, if a person has a habit of taking alcohol in large quantities every day on a daily basis, then it slows down his metabolic process and even depresses the central nervous system of the person. So the CNS here represents the central nervous system. Along with that, that person will lack coordination and he will have mental confusion, drowsiness, that is, he wants to sleep all the time, and there's lowering of abnormal emissions, and there is stupor also. So all these side effects are associated with the consumption of alcohol. So it is far better to avoid consuming alcohol. Unlike alcohol, the uptake of even small quantities of methanol causes death because methanol is oxidized to methanol in liver. So, unlike alcohol, alcohol can at least be consumed in small quantities, but methanol shouldn't, because even very small quantity of methanol consumption will cause death. Because methanol, after getting inside the body in the liver, this methanol will convert into methanol, which is very fatal. So if you can see, methanol reacts with the compounds present inside the cells and coagulate protoplasm like the coagulation of eggs. So methanol, which will react with the components that are present inside our cells, and they'll coagulate the protoplasm. So what is this coagulation? So if you can see, this is the egg without coagulation. So it is basically, if you break a raw egg, then you will get the albumin yolk, which is in liquid content. So when it coagulates, see, it completely solidifies, the inside content solidifies and it is a complete solid egg. Like the same, when this methanol completely reaches the cell, it will coagulate the protoplasm which is in liquid state, and that is really fatal. So methanol also affects the optic nerve and causes blindness. So this is the optic nerve which will help in vision. So this optic nerve function is also disturbed and it will also cause blindness. So consumption of methanol is very, very offensive. Ethanol is an industrial solvent, hence to avoid misuse, a small amount of methanol is added to make it unfit for drinking. So usually in the industries, so if ethanol is used as an industrial solvent, many people might get addicted to it, they might take it, they might consume it. So to avoid the misuse, a small amount of methanol is added to all those industries so that methanol is added because methanol can't be consumed. So when methanol is added to ethanol, obviously that can't be consumed and it is unfit for drinking. So there is no misuse of that ethanol. Now dyes are also added to add color to alcohol. So it usually gives it a blue color so it can be easily identified. And this particular alcohol is called denatured alcohol. So this is a denatured alcohol bottle which is blue in color. So this is how alcohol has so many adverse effects on the human body. So it is better to avoid the consumption of alcohol. Thank you.